Hi, we're going to look at absolute value inequalities. So if you know how to solve an equation, if you know how to solve an inequality, we're doing the same exact stuff. When with the absolute value, that says we're going to come up with two answers. Absolute value is the distance away from zero. So the number -5, the number +5, they're both a distance of 5. Two possible answers. We're going to come up with two answers. We're going to rewrite this twice at the end. We'll get there. We'll see what happens. But first, let's start doing inverse operations. My goal is to get the absolute value alone first. So I want to take this absolute value and leave it put. I want to move the 7 and move the 2. And we start by doing any kind of addition and subtraction first. So I have this -2 out here being added to this group of 7. I want to move the 2. So add 2 to both sides. And we rewrite. We have multiplication. Let's divide. Okay, once we have the absolute value alone, here's our time to rewrite this problem twice. So first time, I'm going to rewrite this exactly as I see it with no absolute value bars. So x plus 10 greater than 5. Nothing changed except I took out the absolute value bars. Now I'm going to rewrite it, x plus 10. If you go back and remember with equations, absolute value, we change that 5 to a -5. Okay, that's good. But also, now we have to change the inequality. That's got to flip for us. Now let's go through and solve this like we would any other problem. -10, -10, x greater than -5. On the other side, -10, -10, x less than -15. Great. We also have to graph this. So we've got -15, -5, super detailed graphs here. As long as they're in order, at least for me, that's okay. -5. Let's go back to inequality rules. There's no equal sign. That means we have an open circle here. And x is greater than -5. X is bigger. What's a number bigger than -5? Well, -4, 3, 2, 1, 0, positive numbers, everything to the right. The -15, again, open circle. There's no equal sign. X is less than, X is smaller than -15. What's worse than owing $15, owing 16, owing 20, owing $100, owing money, everything to the left. There's your graph. All right, let's try this again up here. So now we've got multiplication, we have additions, we have got subtraction here. Let's move the subtraction, then do the 9. So we're going to say +1, +1, -9, rewrite. All right, multiplication, let's divide by that -9, rewrite. And you get negative, positive, and a 3. So one other thing that we need to now keep in mind when you're dealing with inequalities, if you multiply or divide by a negative, if you multiply or divide by a negative, if you multiply or divide by a negative, that inequality has to flip. Multiply or divide by a negative, gotta flip the inequality. Whether or not it's a plain old inequality or an absolute value inequality, gotta flip it. Now, absolute values alone, here's our chance to rewrite the problem twice. 7x plus 4 less than or equal to 3. 7x plus 4. Over here, we switch things twice. We're going to switch things twice again. Greater than or equal to -3. Two things change there. Now, let's go through and solve this like we would any other problem. Inverse operations, starting with adding and subtracting. So let's take care of the 4. -4, -4. 7x less than or equal to -1. Divide, x less than or equal to -1/7. We're allowed fractions, that's okay. On the other side, -4, -4, 7x greater than or equal to -7. Divide, x greater than or equal to -1. Congrats. Keep in mind that if for whatever reason there was a negative in here and we wrote that negative out in front of the 7 here, when we divided by the negative, we'd have to flip this one more time if we had a negative in there. We got to graph this. So let's come up here. We have, I'll make this one a little more detailed. We got 0, we have -1, -1/7, somewhere in there. -1, start easy. X is greater than or equal to. Because there's an equal sign, we have a solid or filled in dot. X is greater, X is bigger. All my bigger numbers are to the right. So I'm going everything over here. My -1/7, again, equal sign, that means it's going to be filled in. We're going to color that in. X is smaller than the 1/7. X is smaller than that -1/7. Smaller numbers are off to the left. We're going to shade everything over there. That's not my answer, though. My answer is going to be this filled in dot, this filled in dot, and then only what's in between. I'm looking to see where those two lines overlap each other. So essentially this, garbage. This, garbage. In the middle is your answer and those two dots. And that is solving absolute value inequalities.